Hey there, welcome back. In case we haven't met, I'm Jamie Warren and I'm here at my recording studio, Free River Studios in Livingston, Montana. And today I wanted to tell you what I would buy if I were starting from scratch at home. I had a good friend of mine come to me recently who I've done some work with in the studio, and she expressed some desire to be able to record and produce on her own. And so I thought I would share with you what I would tell her. And so I've got a couple of things here today that I'd like to just kind of quickly go through and hopefully get you started on a quick jump on your home recording journey. So the first thing any of us is going to need is a computer. I think that's kind of obvious these days. I'm going to assume you already have one if you're watching this, but if not, I would recommend just getting a Mac to start. If you're interested in music production, that's really the best place to start. And it could be an older one. Start with any version you can get. I have a Mac Mini M1 version that's been in the studio here for years. It still runs great, and I still use it for recording and production occasionally. I also have a MacBook Pro laptop that I carry around with me that's just a little bit more for portability and allows me to do some composing at home. But any one should work well for you these days. And along those lines, you're also going to need a DAW, or a digital audio workstation, which is basically what you're going to record into. And a Mac comes with GarageBand for free. I highly recommend you get started with that. If you're looking for something a little bit of a step up, I would recommend going with the upgrade to Logic. And if you are looking for something a little bit different, or if you happen to be on a PC, you might check out Luna from Universal Audio. So that's kind of the basics to get started. You're going to need an audio interface to get the sound into your computer. And for that, I would recommend the Universal Audio Volt 2. This gives you two inputs. It sounds great. It has a headphone jack with a volume control on it, so you can listen back to everything you need. And it's quite well built. It's got a number of other features, but just suffice it to say that two inputs is a great starting point. If you have some other interface, just get started with that. Really, changing the interface isn't going to make or break your recording. It's really what you do with it that's going to count. And so if you don't have any, I would recommend finding something with at least two inputs. This would be a great option, but anything with two inputs would be a good start. If you happen to be a drummer, then I would recommend something with four inputs like this Volt 476P. This would allow you to plug in four different microphones like kick, snare, and two overheads for a drummer. But I'm assuming most of the people watching are singer-songwriters and hoping to just kind of record their voice or their instrument at home. And so again, a two input device would work just fine. All right, so moving on, the next thing you're gonna need is a microphone. And for that, I have the most common, most obvious microphones that that you might see. This one in particular, the Shure SM57, I've had this microphone 30 years now. It's the first microphone I bought when I was playing saxophone in a band, and it still works great, and I use it all the time in the studio. So this is my first recommendation, the Shure SM57. If you're strictly a vocalist, you might want to consider the SM58. It's basically the same thing with a pop filter on the front. You can unscrew this to kind of see that yourself if you're curious, and if you can only buy one microphone, get this with a pop filter, and if you wanted to take it off, you can record without it. So that goes for the basic microphone suggestion. If you can get two of them, I'd recommend getting two of this, or just one. I would get this, and I would also recommend that you get a pop filter to go with it, rather than getting the all-in-one microphone. So this is imperative for stopping the P's and other various sounds that pop out of your mouth. It's built into that SM58, as I showed you, but if you don't have it, you definitely want to get a pop filter. So you'll see a lot of other microphones like this condenser mic from Music Villa. It's a great affordable little microphone. The challenge with these microphones is that they require phantom power. Pretty much every audio interface on the market these days will provide phantom power, so it's not something to worry about typically, but if you were using them in a live setting, you need to make sure that that's applied. Without getting into the technical details of phantom power, let's just also talk about the differences in mics. Sometimes these can pick up sound a little bit more sensitively, or they'll capture the whole entire room rather than the direct sound. Kind of as if the microphone you're hearing on my phone camera right now versus some of the more produced videos you see on YouTube that are using a direct microphone sounds clearer, crisper. This one is going to pick up more of the room. You can also position these so that they don't pick up as much of the room. But anyway, long story short, start with a dynamic microphone, as they would be called, Shure SM57 or 58. That's my first recommendation. Okay, on to headphones. So again, one of the first things I bought, the Sony 7506. I've had these headphones for almost 30 years as well. Just after getting out of recording engineering school, I needed something to record on my own, and so I bought these. Now, the main point I want to make here is that these are a closed back headphone, meaning that they don't leak any sound. Some other headphones are open back, and that's for sound quality purposes, like this Sennheiser HD650. You can see the grill here. So this is going to leak some sound out of it, and if you're listening to your music while you're trying to record, that sound's going to leak out and get into the microphone. So you're going to want to get a closed back headphone. The Sony 7506 is obviously a great choice. This one's been with me for over 30 years. I've replaced the connector on it, and I've had to replace the pads, but still working today. For other recommendations, you might see the Audio-Technica ATH M50X. That's a great headphone. It's got a removable cable in case the cable ever goes bad. And then finally, my third recommendation would be the Beyerdynamic DT770. If I were buying a headphone today to replace my headphones in the studio, that would be it. There are tons of other closed back headphones, but they're just, the Beyerdynamic DT770 is super comfortable, very repairable. They're built like a tank. And side tip, if you can find their parts and a refurbished website, you can get them for $100 a pair or something like that for a refurbished pair. All right, so moving on, one more thing to mention, speakers. Now I know this can be a hot topic for discussion. My recommendation here is you just get the best sounding and biggest speakers that you can for your recording studio. A lot of people will say otherwise. They'll say it's not worth it without treating your room. But I personally feel I would rather have a really great sounding speaker, the best I can afford, in an untreated room, and know that I can eventually improve that room. But comparing a small speaker, say a 5-inch driver speaker, to an 8-inch driver speaker is a substantial difference in sound quality, if they're well designed. Most studio speakers these days, you really can't miss with any of them. So I recommend getting the bigger, better speaker that you can. If you have a chance to listen to them, great. But don't worry about what everybody says about the acoustics in your room. Yes, it's something to treat, but don't let it keep you from getting the best speakers that you can. I've had the Mackie HR824s for over 20 years or so, and I've taken those speakers into numerous rooms, big and small, treated, untreated, and they've been a reliable source for me everywhere I go. And there are times when I can hear that I'm in a specific room that has echoes or what have you, but I can still trust those speakers and I know that they provide the full range of sound that I need. So again, long story short, get the best speaker you can afford today, and know that at some point, if you can do some acoustic treatment to improve your room, that's going to make it even better. Okay, I think that's everything I have to recommend to get off the ground and running. A couple of things I might have missed is a mic stand and a mic cable. I think those are kind of obvious things that you're going to need, but if not, I just said it. So make sure you get yourself a mic stand and a mic cable, be able to hook all this up. If I left anything out, or if you have any questions about my recommendations or your situation and how that might be different, hit me up in the comments and I'd be happy to try and guide you in the right direction. All right, thanks for stopping in, and I'll catch you next time.